Hello, back again here for making some autumn leaves. Woo! Yay! They're all falling. So I'm going to show them to you on the overhead camera because these needle felted leaves, what's special about them is that we're using the water soluble paper, and look, that you can really dry them in leaf shapes as they are crinkled up at this time of the year. So you can have the leaves really nicely shaped like that as well. You don't have to, you can make them also really flat, but this is quite an unusual way to make something flat that you can also allow to dry in a slightly structured and 3D shape. That you cannot do really with any other method, that, as far as I know, and get such a thin finish that they literally look like very thin leaves. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I just need to quickly switch on something here overhead, which I've forgotten, so just bear with me. So if I look like I'm doing something overhead, I am. That one. Come on. Oh, the joys of technique stuff. Oh, sorry. I had it all prepared, but it decided to switch itself off, so just bear with me. Nearly there. And okay, done. Right, so we're here to see what's inside the flock box. So I'm just gonna go overhead with the camera, and you can see this is the beautiful, colorful box that you're getting in September 2024. We've got our variegated green, claret red, golden yellow, golden orange, and if you are willing to undress your sheep, you have the dragon mix on there, which is a nice, you never quite know what surprise colors you are getting. You also get in this one a template to make the leaves, and somebody asked me what leaves they might be. Well, you recognize this. This is an oak leaf. This one, I want to say it's like an what are they called again? Carol, help me out. You know this usually. An Azalea? No, that's not how you say it. I can't think of the name. This could be an ivy. This could be this is maybe a beech and a birch leaf. So what are they called again? Anyway, I'm gonna have to let you guess the name, because I can't say the word, or when I hear it again, I can. It's a non-native one. So let me just have a quick look to see who has got any answers for me here in the live stream. Maple leaf, an acer, that's it, an acer. I think it's an acer leaf. I think it's an acer leaf anyway. Could be a sycamore, but it's quite small. Maple, yeah, potentially as well. So whatever takes your fancy. So, what you also need to make your leaves, you will also need a pen, because what I haven't shown you is that hiding underneath here is our water-soluble paper. There you go. And you should have enough to make all of the leaves on there. I can't quite remember how we've worked this out, but that makes those. And I don't know how I did that, but maybe you have to do the slim ones. One slim one that ends there. One bigger one potentially. Anyway, I'm sure you can work out how you can get all the leaves on there. But what I want to show you first of all is how you actually make it. So you need a pen, as I say. I've actually been a bit naughty and used a very thin fine liner, which I always say use a pencil if you can. But I've actually used a fine liner on tracing this leaf. If you use a pencil, then whatever you're doing, make the leaves very, very space saving. So go quite close to the edge. And I will just say it's going to be almost impossible to get these jaggedy edges on these kind of leaves. So you just see if I can fit them all on. Maybe that one fits on like that. Oh yes, I think we get them all on if you go this way on that one. Just about. Maybe that one on there. So that ends here. And then get that one here. That would, so get this one on here and then this one on here. That would end here. And then you've got that one here. Maybe slightly off. Let's see where that ends. That ends here. And then you potentially get this one on there. I think you just get this one on there. So if you get this on here, obviously if you don't want to make all of the leaves, this is obviously only for those of you who've got the flock box. If you have the Try Me flock box products, if you have a water soluble paper, plenty of water soluble paper, you'll be able to do this without having to be so spaced out, or without being so careful with your water soluble paper. There, so that's 3 leaves on there, so that only leaves 2 now. Is that right? Yes. So I can put the big one on its own here, 3 on there, and we've got 5 leaves. Yeah, that's it. I've done it. So get that one on here. So you're basically, what you're doing is you're tracing around the leaf shape with your pencil, or as I've done, I have used a fine liner. That was all I had to hand at the time. And then one more, and that's just the oak leaf. Oh, I could almost fit another one on there now. I've been so, yeah, you can probably do this one again. So, right, let's get the oak leaf down. And then what you do is you are separating the leaves by cutting the shapes separate, but do not cut around the shape. Okay, we don't want to be cutting around the shape precisely. So all you want to do is you just want to separate the shapes, but you leave excess paper on your drawn shape. So I'm literally just keeping the paper that's excess around there on there. If you cut the precise shape out, you will have a lot more trouble needle felting it, because the excess paper helps us to make the leaf nice and big, as it should be. But if you cut the paper precisely around the shape now, you will literally just lose the extra size, because the wool will shrink and it will shrink the paper. So there we go. So that's how much I've got left. So I don't know if I would fit. Yeah, I think I would just about fit another leaf on there. So you can actually fit 6 on there if you're being careful with the spacing out of your leaves on the water soluble paper. Bring my felting mat back. So I'm going to show you a couple of methods. So first of all, I'm just going to use the plain wool and felt it down. So there we have the golden orange, which is a lovely color for a leaf. And what I do is, you probably need a medium, maybe a coarse felting needle. I'm just going to use a coarse. And it really works to go really thin. So this is often a technique I use, how to get wool onto a piece of fabric if you're felting flat. And I'm just stabbing. I can just about see the outline of the leaf. I'm just stabbing the wool in on the outside, with the excess wool being on the outside. And then I stab it in the center to felt it down. It's better to stab it on the outside first, because if you only stab it on the inside, you pull away from the line on the outside. So then you can fold over the excess wool on the outside and you fold it in. The common mistakes that are being made is that people pile the wool on and then they just can't see where they're going with this, and the whole object or the whole point of doing this is so that you end up with a really thin leaf. So I'm going to add a little bit more wool now onto the leaf, and notice also that I'm going along the leaf rather than side to side. I'm always imagining how does the leaf naturally run. The veins would run from the tip down to the opposite end rather than from side to side. So it's the general run of the shape, and I've felt this down so that I now have a rough leaf here, roughly felted, with a limited amount of wool being stubbed through. Now what I really love and what I can highly recommend for this type of felting, especially if you want to speed your work up, is use a brush mat. Either use a brush mat with the 7 needle felting tool, just reminding you the shield retracts, and then you can felt this down. Because you've kept to the lines, you can literally just felt it down along the whole leaf, and you have to lift it off. This is important with this kind of needle felting, that you always lift your work off and you only felt from one direction. So this part here, you can see how patchy the wool has been applied, but look how much more the wool has been punched through now. Now, if you don't want to invest in a brush mat and a 7 needle felting tool, then invest in a clover tool. This tool works perfectly on our earth-friendly felting mat, which is what I'm using. I've just covered it up with a felt sheet to keep it going for a bit longer. And once you get to this point where you've got, we've punched all the wool through, then you're going to use a little bit more wool. A good test is always to hold the shape up against the light and see where you've got some really thin patches, because the thinness of the paper or the wool will, when you rinse the paper out, will expose, will end up as holes. So you could, in theory, go straight now to using your multi-tool. The Clover multi-tool has an advantage over the 7 needle felting tool in that you can use it on the felting mats, like I said, you can use it on the earth-friendly felting mat or on the eco wool mat, our environmentally friendly wool mats. You can also use it on 3D needle felting because it's got 5 needles and the needles are slightly further spaced apart to the 7 needle felting tool. The 7 needle felting tool will only work with on flat needle felting and with a brush mat. You can still use your single needle if you need to sort of get into the little areas, and I would recommend start with a really basic leaf shape if you've never done this before. So stab it down only from one side, and remember to lift it off your mat, and in time more and more of this back part of your shape will become very furry and fluffy. And I'm even going to put another layer on. Now this is really super thin still because I literally have been very careful with the layers that I've put on here. And this is the better way to build up the shape. Now if you overspill, you kind of spill outside the frame of your leaf, then you can very easily adjust that by using your scissors and just cut it neat once you've finished with the leaf. I can also tell you that you can add other colors over the top. You can add little veins into it, like I've done with this one here. So I've just added a contrasting color, and I'll show you how to do this as well. Now you saw me cut earlier, you saw me cut using our rainbow scissors, cut straight. I really love the curved rainbow scissors for cutting when it comes to finishing this shape now. They're really, really sharp, and they just do a little bit of the extra shaping for me because they're curved. So I just need to move them around a little bit less than I would with the other scissors. Excess wool on the water soluble paper, you can just literally cut it off. This can go in the bin. And if you want to add more details to this, you can even do this now. So whatever contrasting color you want to put on it. So say you want to put some little veins on it, and this again, a lot of this is in the very, very minimalistic detail. Even if you put the line down and you miss a bit of that line and it sort of gets interrupted, that's still better than making a great fat line in there. Make it really delicate, just like leaves are. So you're felting this from the right side where you've been felting all along. I actually can't remember now what the stalk side is. I think it's that side. And then just add a couple of veins into it. The less you add, the more effective it will be, the more realistic it will be. And when you have added this, I'll show you one leaf from beginning to end, and then if you need to go, at least you know how this is done. You're going to then need a little bit of water. I've got my little pot here, and I've got a little bit of warm water here in the flask, which I'm going to pour in there. There. And then I've got a kitchen towel here. So that's at the ready now. And now this is the important bit. You see the water soluble paper here, you see the white. You want that to disappear, but you don't want to completely rinse this leaf out as if you are trying to wash it. You're literally just dipping it in like this. And that's enough, and you're just going to squeeze it. You're not going to break it. You squeeze it, and it's all crumpled up, and you think, oh no, what have I done? And then you gently unfold it, and as I'm unfolding it, I can feel the stickiness of the paper in my fingers, because the paper has disappeared from sight, but actually the residue of it is still in there. So what I do next is I press on it like this, just to absorb some of the excess paper, and then I leave it to dry. This is the perfect time to put the leaves on the radiator, which are maybe on already, and just crinkle it up a little bit with your fingers like this. See, you can see it's sticking. My fingers are sticking, and that is exactly what you want. And then you leave it to dry like this, and it will come out in that shape. So there's the yellow version of it, and it's feather light, and you can make lots and lots of these and string them up together. So this is the very easy and basic shape of making that leaf. Now we'll show you some of the more complicated shapes, which is this one here, which I think is an acer. And what I love about this is that you can really capture sort of the leaf. You almost see how the veins are running. So I'm going to use a different color now. Maybe use the red here. And I'm going to mix the red now with a little bit of the orange, because you can actually mix wools. And if you haven't ever done this before, I'm sorry, I'm sniffling, then you can overlay the two colors and just mix them into a nice variegated mix. You can also add color over the leaf later on, which is what I've done here. I've just done a green leaf and then added a little bit of color over the top. You can do that too, or you can start out by making your new color combination, and that gives you the opportunity of all of these colors suddenly becoming hundreds more colors. So I do apologize, I just need to just wipe my nose. Sorry about that. And the same applies. You just use the wool, and I actually work my way now from this part of the leaf towards the stalk, again in exactly the same way as you've done it before. So it is worth taking your time. Don't rush it, just go in small quantities using your single needle and find the line that you should just about see through the wool. Sometimes you have to sort of put the wool a little bit to one side to remind yourself where the line is. And then I'm pushing the wool into place, going around the outline. What I will show you in a minute, what I don't want you to do, excuse me for a minute. So fastening it around the edges makes sure that you reach the wool all the way to the edges, right? If you are starting, peel that off. If you're doing this and you're starting, say here, and you felt it down like that, what happens is that the wool pulls away from the edge. So you suddenly realize that you haven't got the wool going all the way to where you want it to go. So that is why I go and felt around the edges first and leave the fluffy bits on the inside, because that is now in place and the wool cannot be pulled away from the edge. So that is a tip for all needle felting. When you needle felt onto water soluble paper, make sure you get into the outer shape first, and then add more wool and then work your way around the whole leaf. Now there is another way of how you can make the wool fit. It depends from leaf to leaf. You would probably use this technique on the oak leaf, which I'm going to show you. So for example here, you've got slightly rounded edges. I take another type of wool, maybe the green, and instead of going wispy like this, you can also shape the wool by folding it like this, and then you make it fit. So that instead of overshooting the line and then folding the wool inward, you're actually felting the wool down quite precisely by doubling it up and folding it. It's another way of applying the wool to fit inside the template. Everything else is exactly the same. So you work your way around it. You make sure that you are not overshooting the outside that way. And don't take too much wool, because it's always easy to put more on. But with water soluble paper, you really don't want to pull wool off, because you'll just tear the water soluble paper apart. And remember to lift your work off so that you don't end up with it being fastened so firmly onto your felting mat that the only thing you can do is tear the whole thing apart. That wouldn't be the idea behind all of this either. And if you want to add more details to your shape once you have it needle felted down, you can do that too. Even here, even this stiff leaf that I've made, I can or use this one here. I can still add details to it even after you have dissolved the water soluble paper. So you can still add details to it. It would be a shame to change the shape, because that's the whole point why we're using water soluble paper, but you can still felt onto it. So there are many ways of getting the shapes done, but also getting the details onto it. And then of course use your preferred choice of tool, multi-tool, either the 7 needle felting tool or the Clover 5 needle felting tool. Felt it down, and remember you can cut the precise shape out at the end of coloring in the leaf, because you can use your scissors to get really close to the outline. And if you've overshot a little bit, then you still have the chance to put that right. The leaf is not going to fall apart, and whilst it feels a little bit nerve-wracking putting the leaf into the water and submerging it and then squeezing the water out, you're not going to break it, because you have felted it down very firmly. So please don't worry about that. But basically this is how you slowly but surely make your leaves. And this acer leaf, I want to say it's an acer leaf, is definitely the more challenging of all of the leaves that are there. So if you want to make very simple leaves, then I would go with these leaves that have got literally no bits around it. And I think that's all I need to show you. You can make so many leaves with this wool. You just need to top up on some of the water soluble paper if you haven't got that, and then you can place fall by just letting the leaves fall down, and they're super light, so they actually fall quite slowly. And there you go. You've got all your beautiful leaves ready to display, hang up into a garland, maybe make a garland and add something else to it. So that's it really. I'm just gonna adjust something. Right, so I'm gonna go quickly and see if anybody's got any questions, and then if there isn't anything else, I shall shoot off and eat my my supper. It's getting late, so let's have a look. Who's never ever done this kind of needle felting before? That would be good to know. So I've cut all mine out of the water soluble paper. Do you mean like precisely, Diane, or just roughly? They all fit fine as I managed it. Excellent. I bought a whole roll of the soluble paper as I enjoyed using it so much. Wow. Laura says, I'm going to do just the oak for now and make oak acorn brooches or a wreath. Ah, that sounds amazing. And of course you can, this is another thing that I need to tell you, use real leaves for a template if you want to. You can actually go out, now you've got so many leaves on the ground, use the real leaves and make sure they're dry and clean. But you can lay them down underneath the water soluble paper and draw around the real leaf as well if you want other templates. We've given you these templates in the flock box, but you don't even need to draw your own. Just use the leaves out and about. Nikki says, thank you for a very entertaining, enjoyable flock gathering, and I'm sorry I have to go, so I will send fluff hugs to Steffi and everyone here tonight. Take care, everyone. Thank you very much, Nikki. Yes, sorry about, I don't know what it is. Honestly, I still suffer from hay fever, but I don't know. Maybe it's something else. Maybe I'm allergic to myself. How about this? Barbara says, thank you, Steffi, for this. I love these leaves. I have to go and stab my little dog now as he's diabetic and due for his food and insulin. Oh, bless him. Oh, don't stab him like needle felting though. I've only made one thing with water soluble paper so far, so the tips were really useful. Of course, if you've done the hummingbird this month, September 2024, then you will have used water soluble paper, but not everybody has. Lorna will be making some leaves tomorrow. Debbie says thank you. Rosemary says thanks, Steffi. You always make it look so easy. Thanks for the tips. It is easy. It is easy. Hannah says if you make mistakes, can you reuse the wool when dipping in the water? I don't think so, because it will have, well, for starters, you have needle felted it. I would have guessed, but also if you've got the water soluble paper residue in it, it becomes really stiff and quite unpleasant to work with. But you can still felt into the dried leaf with the water soluble paper in it. Debbie says, looking forward to trying this after my Christmas wreath. Jane says, really lovely make and advice as always. Thank you so much, Steffi. Thank you, Jane. Anne says, it's very scary sticking it in the water, but I loved the results for my autumn green man. Absolutely. I forgot about that. Of course, you've all been experts at making leaves during the summer retreat when you made loads for your green men. Patricia says, I don't think I've used the water soluble paper before. Yay! Excellent. I'm glad that is something new for you to try, Patricia. Caroline says, have made poppies with water soluble paper before, but these leaves are fabulous. Yep, poppies are great. Flowers in general, butterflies. Sharon says, thank you, Steffi. First time using the soluble paper and love them. I've collected leaves so I can make such gorgeous colours. Great tutorial, Steffi. Love the hours. Oh, thank you very much, Claudia. Diane says, thank you, Steffi. Fiona says, thank you, Steffi. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Same to you. Mary says, thank you. Diane says, love the colors of these wools. Thank you, Diane. And Hannah says, thank you. Have an amazing evening, everyone. Steffi, go and get your dinner. I will. So, take care, everybody. Sending you lots of autumnal love, and keep that nasty storm at bay wherever you are. Keep safe, and I shall see you. I don't know when I see you. Oh yes, tomorrow at 12 o'clock. If you're watching me, come shop with me. Most of you, if you're watching this later on as a recording, then sorry, you won't be there. But those of you who are still watching, I see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.